We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Ooh, this is really good. You should know about this. So I don't know about you, but I've been known to procrastinate, especially when things scare the hell out of me. The fear alone would have me stuck, overwhelmed, confused, and all types of self-doubt. And don't even get me started on the imposter syndrome. Okay. After getting laid off, not once, but 3 times, honey, I realized that the security blanket that I made up in my head was just an excuse because I didn't really want to bet on myself. The corporate benefits that had me in that headlock, girl, they went out the window once my job decided that they no longer needed me.
Turns out that I'll save a whole nickel if I cut your salary completely.
The truth is, the only security blanket guarantee is the one that you create for yourself. In other words, until you start a business, you will always be at the mercy of a company's headcount, and you will never have complete control over your time, which means you'll be renting out your thought leadership and helping build someone else's dream instead of your own. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Don't you think it's time you stop playing small and tap all the way into your power, sis? Check out www.victoriajenn.com/training to learn my 3-step process, the exact 3 steps that I took to make the transition from corporate to entrepreneurship. And this is helpful even if you don't know what type of business to start and have only one source of income. And this is absolutely free. It is my gift to you. I want you to win. It's winning season. In fact, what's that? It smells like winning season. Okay, so tap in and I'll see you inside the training. Let's go. You are the architect of your destiny. And if you allow someone else to dictate how you show up in life, you will have regrets. You can still drive revenue in your business and you can still grow your business without alerting your employer. I got you. I get it. When it comes to your employer, I always recommend that you ask for forgiveness later versus asking for permission. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Banking on Cultura. I am your host, Victoria Jenn Rodriguez. Really excited to be with you here today. And I have a huge announcement. So I never do this, but this summer, I'm actually opening up 2 slots for private coaching to work one-on-one with me. And this specific opportunity is geared toward leaders who find themselves questioning their purpose and are unsure of what their next chapter in life will be. They're essentially at a crossroads and they want more out of life and are just tired of following the rules. They want to trailblaze their own path and live life on their terms without risking their credibility in the marketplace. Does this sound like you? Well, look, coming from corporate, I have over 2 decades of experience and I understand the sacrifices, the risks, darling, and the game that you're forced to play in order to be taken seriously or worse, accepted. You've worn the mask, dressed the part, talked the talk, and from the outside looking in, you've made it. Yet you're unhappy. You don't want to fake it anymore, and deep down, you know that you're destined for more. I've trained over 20,000 leaders on how to use their uniqueness and their magic to build a life of influence, purpose, and freedom. A life where they don't need a vacation to escape or feel alive. A life that is exciting and peaceful at the same time. So if you're listening to this and it resonates and it's speaking to your heart and ready to transform your life, expand into the unknown, and explore the beautiful parts of you that have been hidden for far too long, I invite you to complete the application to participate in this private coaching opportunity. This is going to be super high touch, very white glove kind of experience. So once the 2 slots are taken, they're gone. So if you're interested, I will put the application link in the show notes. Make sure to apply, check that out. I can't wait to hear about your goals and where we are going to take your life next. So cheers to your renewed life. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty of today's episode. So I want to talk about how you can position yourself as an expert and bring in some coins while you are still working. I had a conversation with one of my students inside the Dare to Leap program, and she was like, you know what? I'm kind of hesitant in building my brand, putting myself out there because I don't want my employer to come for me, right? She works in the financial industry space and she was really concerned with putting herself out there, especially because she knows that her organization actually has a policy that if you're making money anywhere else outside of the 9 to 5, you need to alert them. And if it's a conflict of interest, you need to end it completely. And so she was speaking to me about, how she can still hold down her 9 to 5 while also building her business. And I love this question because I know so many women who are holding themselves back or not putting themselves out there because they're afraid that they're going to lose their job, right? So we're going to talk about what are some ways that you can still drive revenue in your business and you can still grow your business without kind of like alerting your employer, all right? So the first thing I want to address, and this is my opinion, you guys can move as you so please, but I'm a firm believer that when it comes to corporate, when it comes to your employer, I always recommend that you ask for forgiveness later versus asking for permission. Meaning, if you show up to your boss and you're like, hey, I'm starting this business, do I have your support? Your boss is going to be like, no. They want you to work. They want you to spend all your time invested in that organization, especially if you are someone of influence, if you're making money in the organization, if you're a high head count, like 6 figures or more, like hell no, they don't want you to put any of your thought leadership towards anything else, right? They're hiring you to give them your thought leadership, to give them all your ideas, to give them all your time, your energy, all the things. That's why they're giving you benefits. That's why they're giving you the salary. That's why they're giving you all the perks of whatever comes along with your gig, because they essentially want to own you. They do not want you to do anything else. So knowing that, the likelihood of you going to your boss and saying, hey, I want your support, I'm starting this business, even if you tailor it in such a way, and there could be a lot of truth to this, where you say, hey, this is not going to interfere with what I got going on here. I promise I'm not going to work on my business stuff while I'm here at work. It's going to be 2 separate things. You don't have to worry. That's not going to fly. It's not going to fly. And if you are currently working a 9 to 5 and running a side hustle, you also know that that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Because if you have any downtime while you're at your 9 to 5, you're going to work on your business. Like, why wouldn't you? So in an effort to set yourself up for success and try to run your business on the side as long as possible while you are still working, I highly encourage you to not tell your boss. Do not inform your company that you have started a business. And some of you might be thinking, well, like, okay, if I don't tell them, that's great, but how am I going to get clients? I need a website. I need a market. I need to let people know that I'm open for business. I got you. I get it. Oh, and by the way, the reason why I tell you, do not tell them that you're starting a business and to ask for forgiveness later is because I actually went the opposite route. When I was still in corporate and I started my business, my first business, I went to my boss and I was like, hey, I just want to give you the heads up that I've started this business. And the reason why I told them that is because I remember when I signed my contract, when they hired me, I remember there being some type of language about you got to inform them or you have to like tell them what's happening. And so me following the rules, thinking like, oh, I signed this contract. Like, yeah, let me go and do this. I told my boss, And my boss was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. That's incredible, Victoria. You should be really proud of myself. Left that meeting feeling really good. Next thing I know, I get a call from my boss's boss to come to her office. I get into her office and they're basically like, Victoria Jenn, absolutely not. You cannot have your business while you are still working here. And I was like, wow, okay, well, I've already started the business because in my head, I'm thinking, well, I already started the business because I'm gonna do what I wanna do. And I was just like, okay, thanks for the heads up. Appreciate it. I'll figure out what next steps could look like. So it was in that moment that I learned never again will I ask these folks if I can start a business. And for some of you, you might be hesitant because you're like, but wait, V, like you signed the contract. Like when you got hired, you signed that contract that you basically said that you would tell them. The way that I justified this is my business was not in direct conflict with what they were selling. We sold completely different things. It was completely different industries. There was no competition there whatsoever. So I felt like, you know what? If they ever came for me, they really didn't have much of a business case because I wasn't a direct competitor. I wasn't poaching their clients, right? I wasn't taking their intellectual property. None of that. So really, they can't sue me. Like, what are you going to sue me on? Like, you know, the worst case scenario, we were going to have a breach of contract and they were going to fire me. That's it. There was no language that suggested I would have to give them money. I would have to give them back some of my salary. Nothing in that offer letter whatsoever. And if you are someone who pays attention to the details and just wants to cover your ass, get your offer letter, whatever you signed when you first joined the organization, and check and see what the language is. And if you really want to be razzle-dazzle, take it up a notch and have a lawyer look it over and see if it's really binding, right? So that you can start this business and not feel scared, right? And not feel like they can come for you, because ultimately they can't come for you unless you're starting a business that is in direct competition with them and you're poaching clients and all those things. Like, obviously, they're going to come for you for that. But if not, worst case scenario, they're going to let you go. Okay? And by then, the universe is giving you a sign anyway. But if you want to be safe, hey, have the lawyer look it over and feel safe. So let's talk about how you can actually position yourself so that people start looking at you as an expert and you can start making money without being all the way out there, okay? Because there are ways for you to position yourself. So let's talk about a website, because everybody always wants to have a website. Y'all, some of y'all spending thousands of dollars to build your website. And I'm telling you right now, your website is not bringing you money, honey. Your website is just a formality. Like, don't waste your time trying to make your website perfect with the colors and this and that. Listen, when you're first starting, the goal is for you to make some money as quickly as possible. A, because it's going to validate that there's an actual need in the marketplace for it. But B, it's also going to build your confidence. Like, holy shit, people are going to pay me for this stuff. Okay? So your website should be way, 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 way down on your priority list. At most, the only thing you should have is maybe a landing page, which is one page, has your bio on it, and your areas of expertise. And that's really all you need to get started. You don't need 10 pages on your website. You don't need that right away, okay? I'm still working on my website and I'm 7 years in. That thing is a labor of love. It will never go away. You will continuously be updating that bad boy. So don't stress. Do not stress, honey, on this website thing. While you're still working, the type of website that you should build is a website that just focuses on your personal brand, who you are as a person, your areas of expertise. That is what I would encourage you to do. It is a one-stop shop to kind of basically check out your bio. That's it. That's what I want you to have, okay? And this will not be something that will alarm your boss or anything like that. It's just a one-stop shop on all things you, okay? You're not saying, hey, if you want to hire me, DM me or email me. You're not saying this is my service portfolio, pick what you want and then email me. You're not putting on that landing page, oh, here's my ebook, go purchase it. However, if you really want to get snazzy with your employer and you know that you have colleagues that have written a book that are constantly pushing their book and selling their book, I wouldn't be hesitant to bring that up in a meeting if anyone ever tries to press you or try to put your back up against the wall because you've started your business. Because technically, that person that is pushing their book, selling their book, putting their link to their book on their LinkedIn post, are selling a product or service outside of the organization. Okay? And you got tons of executives, CEOs, division leaders who are doing this. So if you want to get spicy, that's a way for you to get spicy. But anywho, back to what I was saying. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are positioning yourself as a brand, positioning yourself as an expert, okay? And so that landing page is doing just that. It essentially is what your LinkedIn is serving as right now. Your LinkedIn is basically a landing page of your expertise and your experience and what you've done, right? So I want you to think about it in that way. You can still have this kind of place where you can send people if they need more information on you without it being overly selly or overly out there that you're an actual business owner. You can actually even put on your personal landing page, I always love to connect with members of my community. Don't hesitate to reach out. You're not saying you're selling anything. You're not saying you're hiring, you're getting hired as a coach or a consultant or, hey, book me to speak. You're not saying any of that. You're just saying, hey, I want to connect with my community. Don't hesitate to reach out. All right. These are the little things that you can do to start positioning yourself and setting yourself up to collect some coins. Okay. Because what are we here to do? We're here to secure the big bag always. Okay. The next tip that I want you to do is I want you to start posting a lot on LinkedIn. A lot on LinkedIn, more so than Instagram or TikTok. The reason why is because people on LinkedIn, they pay more and they're usually there because they want to learn something. They want to learn an interesting tip. They want to learn about what you do outside of work. They are just eager to learn versus social media like Instagram, TikTok vibe. People are really there to be entertained, right? They're there to be entertained. They're there to be visually stimulated. They're there to kiki, okay? LinkedIn, people are usually there with more intention. And that's the people that you want to talk to because you want to talk to people who are serious, who actually want to hire you ASAP, okay? So I want you to start posting more on LinkedIn about your expertise. sharing stories about advice that you gave to someone, sharing stories about a product that you recommended someone, sharing stories that will position you as someone that people can trust and that someone that people can look to for strategic insight and advice. Someone who they can rely on, someone who they can respect, right? You're building your credibility by sharing these stories, sharing your expertise. You can even go as far as, and this could be really cool, and this is if you're a coach, you're a consultant, speaker, this is a really cool tip for you. But even, you know what? Even if you have a product or service, like if you have a skincare line, but I'll start first with if you're a coach, consultant, speaker. You can even start a series on LinkedIn where you go live on LinkedIn. And the way to go live on LinkedIn is you use a system called StreamYard. That is what I use to go live on LinkedIn. So if you ever wondered, like, how the hell are these people going live on LinkedIn? That's what they're doing. They're using something called StreamYard. And there might be others, but that's the one that I use. So you can even go live and you can host a series where you ask people to submit a question who are seeking out advice on a particular topic. And if you're just giving advice out for free, more likely than not, somebody's going to hit you a direct message or send you an email and be like, hey, I would love to invite you to come and speak at XYZ. Or, hey, I'm looking for a coach. Do you offer coaching services? And then you can have that conversation behind the scenes. It doesn't need to happen in public, front and center. But what you are doing is you're positioning yourself as an expert and you're actually drawing your consumer base to you, right? By offering something to the community. So let's say you have the skincare line, right? You have an actual product that you are selling. You can start a series talking about how to take care of your skin. You can say this is like a passion project that I'm working on and something that I'm using to just learn more about my community and educate my community, because as a person of color or because as a woman or because as a gentleman, we don't take care of our skin enough. And this is why it's important. Like, you can literally come up with a whole series that will position you as an expert without you ever saying, if you want to work with me, hit me up here. Oh, if you want this ebook, go here. I'm selling this, I'm selling that. You can literally start creating a brand for yourself without any of that. And I highly encourage you to do that, right? Because this is a way for you to start showcasing yourself as an expert in the marketplace without your employer like flipping out. And if you really think about it, your employer actually, it would be in their best interest for you to showcase your expertise, because they also want to build a brand that they hired the best talent, right? They have the best people working at their organization, and that's why consumers want to work with them. So you can actually spin the block on them, turn the script on them to say, well, look, positioning myself as an expert actually makes you look better because you hired me. All right. So let's keep going. Yes. All right. I spoke about not asking for permission, ask for forgiveness, okay? And this can work well in your personal relationships as well, y'all. Okay? It's always easier to ask for forgiveness than permission, all right? Because you could always play dumb and be like, oh, I didn't know, or I wasn't aware. Oh, wow, I had no idea that this would land this way. Thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. Listen, use that corporate talk, all right, and that passive aggressiveness that tends to work very well in a corporate setting. Use that to your advantage, all right? Use it to your advantage. Use their own medicine against them, okay? Also, another way that you can really start positioning yourself is by speaking. Right? Going on speaking engagements. Now, where it can get dicey is if you're getting paid for these speaking engagements and your employer finds out, right? They might not really fly with that. But let's say you are speaking at your church, right? at a committee meeting, you're speaking at a nonprofit, you're speaking at something that is community related, right? That is different from you getting hired by a huge conference to come and speak on that stage, right? Because your employer, you are representing their brand essentially in and outside the office, and they want to make sure that you don't have them looking a fool out here. That's really what it's about, right? They want to make sure that you don't have them looking a fool outside, all right? So what you want to do is, if you're going to do speaking engagements, which I highly encourage you to do, I would flirt with opportunities where you're able to practice, right? You're able to practice talking about yourself. You're able to practice talking about your area of expertise. You're able to practice outside of work, right? Because it's one thing when you have that corporate talk inside the office, right? And you're talking to colleagues and you're talking to your boss. Like, it's a different vibe when you are representing yourself in that arena versus when you are representing yourself as you, the individual, as the business owner. It's a very different vibe. So the more practice you can get with that, the better. So if you have opportunities to volunteer and to coach as a volunteer in your, community clinic, do it. Because you're going to start building up your confidence and also flexing your muscle. If you're watching this video, I'm like flapping my arms for those who are listening and not watching. But it's an opportunity for you to flex your muscle and get into this groove and really put your business hat on that you're really doing it. Okay, so you want to put in those reps, and it'll be much easier for you to build the business case and have a stronger argument if you're just volunteering, right? And your job finds out, be like, well, I'm volunteering. And what you can also do to secure yourself and also to secure your employers before you speak, you can always say, these are my opinions. This is why a lot of people's like Twitter accounts or X, whatever you want to call it. I still call it Twitter. I will always call it Twitter. I don't know what Elon Musk was thinking. He actually did a poll the other day saying, how do you still call it Twitter or X? And the majority of people was like Twitter, and he was like, too bad, we're keeping it X. I'm like, what was the point?
What's up, mi gente? Y'all know I like to keep things spicy, which is why when I invite the girls over for some bonchinche, I always have a stash of Sun Chips Chili Lime on deck because they're sure to bring the heat to any fiesta. The delicious flavors of red chili lime peppers and zesty lime on a satisfyingly crunchy chip is not only the perfect balance of citrus and spice, but it also perfectly describes my friends and I. With 100% whole grains and no artificial flavors, Sun Chips Chili Lime makes for the best chisme snack to get the night going. Grab a bag of Sun Chips Chili Lime today, available at retailers nationwide. To make things easy, just check out sunchips.com to find a store near you.
Of that poll, like, he is such a great example of not giving your consumers what they want and like still winning. Like, it's crazy. However, that is why you see on people's Twitter profiles, these are my opinions. These are not anybody else's opinions, because they want to make sure that that distinction is made. And you should practice that. I think that's a good best practice for you as well, because you can also bring that back to your boss man or whoever and be like, well, before I spoke, I did say that these opinions are mine. Okay? And nobody else's. So I followed the rules, right? So that's another way for you to safeguard yourself. Okay? And then the real takeaway here, y'all, is if you're working for an organization that is literally like surveillancing your life, they are tracking your every move. They're tracking your freaking keyboard strokes, which is insane that organizations are doing this. Like, if you're going to let people work from home, like, let them work from home. If they're still getting work done, let them get their freaking work done. Like, stop trying to micromanage these people. Like, it's crazy. But if you're at an organization that is literally all up in your space and not letting you live, and is not giving you freedom to be the amazing individual that you are, they are just monitoring
everything, then you really need to question whether or not you want to be there, y'all. Like, do you really want to be there? Do you really want to be working for an organization that has that much authority over your life? Is it worth it? Truly, like, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Because I'm pretty sure it's got to be frustrating to know that so much of your life is being monitored because they're offering flexibility for you. It's like they're giving you a treat, but there are strings to that treat. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, work from home, but you need to have your camera on, and we need to monitor all of your strokes, and you need to have a clear background. We need to make sure you're like working from home. I was also reading this on Threads. If you don't follow, y'all, I'm a Threads fan right now. Like, I'm on Threads. You will not find me on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, but you will, honey. You will find me on the Threads. So actually follow me over on Threads if you're on Threads. I love it over there right now. I actually saw this on Threads too, where this girl was working from home, but she decided to take vacation. But she was working from vacation. Like, she was still working. She was at a hotel, and she was still, she's clocked in 9 to 5. She's going to be working 9 to 5, but she's at a resort. And her boss first was heckling her because she had her background blurred. And the boss was like, hey, you know the rules. You can't have your background blurred. You need to, like, have it clear. And she's like, why do I need to have it clear? Like, I'm here. You're seeing me. I'm on video. Like, what does it matter what's happening behind me? I don't want to show you what's happening behind me. And the boss supposedly got, like, really nasty to the point where she let her see what was behind her. And then the boss proceeded to then ask her, where are you? Are you not working from home? You know, the policy is that if you're working from home, you actually have to be home. And homegirl was like, why do I need to be home? Like, I'm showing up from work. You're still getting what you want. Like, who cares where I'm at? And then the boss's response was, well, what if I need you in the office? And she's like, what are you going to need me in the office for? Like, I'm not a doctor. I'm not saving lives. Like, what do you really need me in the office for today? Like, for what? And there was really nothing that the boss could say. But it was one of those things that really made me feel so blessed and have so much gratitude that even though this entrepreneurship thing is very hard, it is very hard. It has its ebbs and flows. It is an emotional roller coaster. It is stretching me in ways that I never dreamed imaginable. And yes, it would be so much easier to go work a 9 to 5. It truly would be. But in these moments, when I hear these examples, I'm just like, wow, how lucky am I that I get to decide where I work, when I work, how much I work, who I work with, how I show up, how I dress, how I talk, all the things. Like, how lucky am I to have that type of freedom? And so I just want you guys to think about it. You only have one life to live. Like, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it, you working this 9 to 5? And if it is, cool, no doubt. But I'm really interested in why you listen to Baking on Cultura, because over here, we about starting and growing our businesses. That's what we about. I mean, we're about a lot of other things, too. Let me not throw shade. But ultimately, guys, what I'm trying to say is you are the architect of your destiny. And if you allow someone else to dictate how you show up in life, you will have regrets. You will have regrets, and you will feel like you're a sellout and you didn't really live up to the potential that you have because you allowed someone else to literally determine how much money you make, where you work, your family dynamics, how you speak, how you dress, how you show up in the world. And I just want you to ask, like, is it worth it? So, real quick reminder, earlier I spoke about private coaching that I'm offering. So if you are in this place where you're stuck and you want to get out, you want to color outside the lines, like you're ready for this next chapter, but you're unsure of what direction to take next because you're unclear. You don't know what your purpose is. You don't even know what your life would look like outside of a 9-to-5, or maybe you're in a 9-to-5 and you just want to figure out how to balance it all, how to incorporate everything so that life just becomes more fluid and fun. You know, like you feel alive, like you feel just like this energy to wake up in the morning and just feel thankful for living, for breath, for life. If this speaks to you, definitely fill out the application in the show notes. I can't wait to hear from you. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in to today's episode. As always, please, please, please give us your feedback. Let us know what you think in the comments. And I want to send so much love to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next episode, guys. Mwah! Besitos. Mi gente, did you enjoy this episode? Are you loving Banking on Cultura? Make sure to subscribe and follow us. Our goal is to grow this community so that we can all embrace our Latinidad, secure the big bag, and never question our cultura ever again. Please also take a moment to leave us a review. I love reading your reviews. Let me know what you are thinking, what guests we should have on, and if there are any topics you would like me to cover. I appreciate you so much for being here. Te amo mucho, and I'll check you out in the next episode.